So your taxes went up, but you have a fixed rate mortgage. How the heck does that happen?
We're going to let you know right now.
Hello, everybody. My name is Barry Horvath, and this is Moving Forward TV with your local market update.
And I am DeLynn Gaston. Thank you so much for joining us. So on today's show, 'tis the season. So everybody has their, 2021, everyone has their goals set and the things that you want to see happening in 2021. One of the things that you need to do first off, if you bought a home anytime in 2020, you need to file for your homestead.
Wow, you're just getting right into the meat today. You're like,
You know what I do have to say, though? Look at you again with your cup.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
That's awesome.
And here I am with my Star Wars.
That's important. We point that out.
You're promoting the company, the mortgage firm.
Yep.
I'm promoting Star Wars.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, probably.
Yeah, you probably should get a mortgage firm cup. I know you have at least 3 that I'm aware of.
I know. I don't.
Okay.
Well, you know what it is? That's too small.
It's fine. You know what? I won't. I've already had a cup early this morning. I'll probably only drink 2 here.
I've already had 2 this morning.
Yeah, I know.
And I will have this as well.
Gotta have it. It's really an addiction. But
so the girls in Bible study last night said to me,
we went
for
from
Lent
meat to potatoes now.
For Lent, we're all giving up something. What are you gonna? You have to give up something that's going to hurt, DeLynn. What do you want to give up? And someone said coffee, and everybody looked at that person and said, "What are you crazy?
Yeah.
She's not going to give up her coffee."
No, that would hurt all of us.
I know.
That would
and that's when I said I don't think that they would let me work at work anymore.
No, we know better. So for those who don't know, DeLynn is a coffee addict.
Addicted.
So, anyway, she's very addicted. Anyway, back to our story.
Back to our story. Back to what we're talking about today.
Because you know what? One of the biggest calls we get right now is my mortgage.
Payment went up.
My payment went up. Why did it go up? And that's a good question. Yeah,
I thought I had a fixed rate mortgage. Why did my payment go up?
So one of 2 things happen, or one of many things could happen when you come
But one thing that did not happen is in most cases, if you had a fixed rate mortgage,
the mortgage payment stayed the same.
Payment did not change.
It's your escrows that change.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we have a lot of people picking up. There's people now that have had houses for a long time, and they bought them when the market collapsed, and now the market
and
has
the
come
values
back.
were way down.
Yep, and now they're cashing in. People are downsizing, people are upsizing.
Right.
And they held on, and they're like, interest rates are low. Now is the time.
We're hoping they're downsizing or upsizing, because right now there's no houses to be bought out there.
I know.
That's a supply and demand problem.
It is a huge problem.
Huge problem.
That's a whole show in itself, folks.
We'll get to that one these days.
Yeah, but right now, though, if your payment went up, it probably has a lot to do with your taxes. And even though we have a cap on our taxes, if you bought a new home, the cap, while it's transportable to you, if you own the house already in Pasco County, meaning whatever home savings you have, because each year we have a cap on our primary residence, that is transportable and can be carried with you. But if you're the first-time buyer or an investor buying that home, remember that cap goes away with that home seller, so it can really, really affect your taxes.
So let's back up a little bit and kind of explain to them about the whole exemptions and things like that. So as you know, when you bought a home, there are real estate taxes. And when you bought the home, there's a very good chance that the seller of that house perhaps had the property homesteaded already. And what we mean by that is Florida is what's known as a homestead state. We have in Pasco County, and I don't know if it's all of Florida, but I know Pinellas County has it as well.
Statewide.
Two statewide, so 2 homestead exemptions, $25,000 each. you need to apply for those. That's first things first. That's what I started the show with. You need to apply for the homestead. If you bought a home anytime in 2020, if you already own a home and you already have homesteaded it when you bought it back when, you're fine. As long as nothing changed, then you're fine. But if you just bought a home in 2020, you only have this week. This is very imperative. You have to file for your homestead prior to March 1st. If you do not, you will lose the homestead exemptions for a year. Now, what is the homestead exemptions? As I said, there's 2 homestead exemptions, and they're $25,000 each. Basically, what that means in really layman's terms is if your house is worth $50,000 or $100,000 and you have two $25,000, it's approximately, rough numbers, Barry's going to correct me on this,
$600.
that you could save on your taxes. And if you don't file for that homestead exemption, then your taxes are not, you're not going to get that discount.
And people ask, well, why is there 25 and 25? Why don't they just do 50? Well, because the first 25 is from 0. The second 25 is after 50, because if you have a house worth $50,000, it's not fair that you pay 0 taxes. So that's why it's 25 and 25. So your value has to exceed $50,000 to get the second $25,000 in that exemption. So pretty simple there, but a lot of people are not aware how that works. So.
And again, it has to be filed for prior to March 1st. Every year it's the same. It has to be filed prior to March 1st, or else you will lose your exemption until next year. So definitely make sure that you do that. That's the first thing. Now, back to why do people's payments go up, Bear?
Insurance.
Well, taxes.
Costs. And taxes definitely go up.
Sticking with taxes for first. So the taxes come out in
taxes.
The taxes. I hate taxes like everybody else. The tax bills come out every November, and they're going to be based on, now speaking to our realtor partners out there, our realtor friends. One of the things that we and you, Barry actually has a customer who wants to sue everybody in the world right now because of this. So if you are telling the clients that, oh, this property that you're buying is not homesteaded right now, that means your payment's going to go down when you homestead this property.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
We don't like that.
Yeah,
we don't like that. Not necessarily is that going to go down.
Because of the cap. Remember, the cap on property taxes is based on the inflation index. So it can only go up so much a year. So if a client or a homeowner owned the property for 20 years, he's enjoyed all these years of the values going up without his taxes going up. That cap goes away once they sell the property. The new owner gets the new tax bill at the new assessed value. If you buy a home and you see a tax bill that's super duper low, there's a really good chance that that tax is not going to be yours. So next year, when the new tax bill comes out, your escrow is that you collected $1,200 for, and it went up to $2,400, is going to be super short. And it's not just the $100 a month that's short. They're going to double it up to make sure that you have enough there for the next year. So keep that in mind. My recommendation to everyone, before you buy a home, if you want to know if it makes sense, if you want to know, even though from the mortgage industry, we're only going to qualify you based on the current tax bill.
That's what I was just going to say. We're going to use what's ever in place the day of closing. But I always tell my clients, but be prepared. Next year, you're going to enjoy this seller's low taxes for the first year, but next year, your taxes will go up.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Sometimes it's big time, you know.
So
even if it was homesteaded, even if the seller lives there and it was a homesteaded property, whether it was or wasn't, chances are the taxes are going to go up. They're not going. Yeah, have you ever known taxes to go down?
There was that one time.
In 1912.
Yeah, probably, but we weren't alive, so didn't help us at all.
Taxes don't go down, people. They don't go down.
No, they don't. So we'll show you the website here in a minute of where you can go and actually check out the estimator.
I know.
Pasco County has a great site for it, so you can actually really, really understand, you know, what is my new tax bill going to be.
For what it's worth, we do loans, have done in all of our years, loans all over the country. And I got to tell you, Pasco County has one of the best websites. And Pinellas County is Florida websites, they're very, very good.
Good. They're super friendly for our real estate friends and our home buyer friends. It's
and
the
you can
first
go
place
on-
you probably should go
Right.
look at a property because there's a wealth of information.
And we're going to take a look at that.
We'll take a look at that in just a minute, but we want to give you some more tips first on why else your payment could potentially go up. And I know you don't want to, I know you're focused on taxes, but we already know that insurance is going up. The state of Florida is getting hammered.
This is just a heads up.
Yeah,
Our
every agent
insurance-
all the carriers are going up. So
Our insurance people have kind of given us a heads up on it, that yes, in the state of Florida, insurance is just going up. Homeowners insurance, car insurance, all insurances are going to be going up in the state of Florida.
and that again, if
Just
your
it.
insurance goes up, even though you have a fixed rate mortgage, your escrow will have another shortage. So, and I know, DeLynn, you love to talk about escrows and how we calculate them as a lender. It's your favorite thing to do, so I'm going to let her talk about that.
So should we talk about that, how they're calculated?
Yeah. 'Cause
So-
why do I have to pay? People get confused, closing costs on a loan. I got to pay $4,000 in closing costs. But then
I like to call that the hard cost. Those are all the people involved. And then there's the escrows, and that's the second part.
and
Now,
you know
that's
what's so
almost like
funny?
a little savings account for you.
And here's what's funny. And we look at a lot of lender estimates. How many of them are calculated wrong?
There's
And-
so many of them
And I hate to
calculated
say
wrong.
this, but because that's not a hard cost per se, lenders estimate those wrong to make their estimate look sweeter.
Right.
I mean, the escrow's your money. It
It's
is
like
what
a
it
little
is.
savings account for
It
you.
is what it is.
So
So-
basically, your taxes and your insurance are included with your mortgage payment, so that next year, when that tax bill comes due in November, or that insurance bill comes due 12 months after you bought the house, they have enough money to cover that in the escrow account. So it's a savings account for you. Now, depending upon what time of year you close, taxes in the state of Florida all due in the month of November. Doesn't make a difference if you buy in the Panhandle or if you buy in the Keys or anywhere in between. All real estate taxes in the state of Florida are due in the month of November. So depending upon what time of year you close, they are going to prorate that tax bill, prorate things so that they have enough money to make that payment on November 1st when we get the bill in the mail. So that's how they're calculated. And as we said, they are calculated on what is in place at the time of closing. Other than on new construction, I do want to kind of like make a note on that.
That's another
on new
big
construction,
one.
that's a totally different thing. And on new construction, most of the time, it's the tax bill is just the land without the home because it hasn't been assessed yet. So that's another one that they're probably going to increase that, and they should,
Right.
because to factor in.
And again, though, that's another big one because people look at the tax
Right.
bill for that, and you're putting a brand new home on. The value on the tax bill is going to be on the land only. When we put when you build and get the improvements on it, poof, your tax bill is going to go up again for next year, and you need to be prepared for that. You need
Absolutely.
to understand that.
Absolutely.
You know what? People don't always like what we tell them, but we
I
tell them the
know.
truth. And they're like, my lender didn't tell me that. You're lying. Your
I know.
payment's going up. Their payment's
And
not.
I know.
And then
I know,
you're-
and I think I'm sure we've probably both lost clients because somebody else led them down a rosy path, and then, sadly, they end up at closing in the exact same spot that I told them in the beginning.
Well, they end up
You
a
know?
year later finding out that.
Or a year later, finding out, oh my gosh, the payment went way up, and that's when the phone call started.
So the escrow analysis, remember, the lender, it's not their money, it's your money. They put it aside for you, and every single lender by law today is required to send you an analysis once a year of what's going on with your escrows. It will give you an itemized statement saying, here's what we've collected from you, and here's what we paid out for insurance. Here's what we've paid out in PMI or MI. Here's what we've paid out in
Flood
taxes
insurance,
or flood
home
insurance.
insurance,
So,
taxes.
and HOA is never, ever included by the lender escrow. Remember that. So if you have an HOA bill, when you buy a home, it is completely separate from your mortgage payment. It will never be part of that payment. Even though we estimate that into your debt ratio and calculate it as a lender, the HOA is never included.
So the escrow analysis, just so that you know, every single lender in the country were required to do it, and everyone does it usually in the month of January to start the
Is that
new
when
year
they do
fresh. Every state, yes, they're
Yeah,
always
I
in
didn't
January.
know
That's
that.
why we're getting all these calls now. So the escrow analysis has to be done by the end of January, and then they usually get them out usually January to February. So that's why you're seeing these things come out now. That is an important piece of paper to be on the lookout for and to keep with your important documents so that you know come tax time, how much did you pay in real estate taxes? How much did you pay in PMI if you had that? So that's an important document to be on the lookout for if you haven't already received it.
I like it.
Yes. Now let's take a look at the website, shall we?
Shall we? We shall.
So this is for Pasco County, and I know any of our friends who watch up north, you're going to be jealous of our website,
no
quite
kidding.
frankly.
Yeah, because we have dolphins.
So the website that you should go to if you are considering buying a home and you want to know what might your taxes go up to, or maybe you have some other questions on the property, this website is a wealth of information. So the website is pascopa.com, pascopa.com, and this is what it looks like, and this is where it will bring you.
That's our Dade City building.
Ta-da! So the place that you're going to want to go on this is like one of my first places that I go, is the one that says records search.
And
Or do
this
you want to
is
start
when-
someplace else?
Yeah, we can do a record search. So when you go into the record search, it's a great way to figure out what the current tax bill is. It'll tell you if the prior homeowner paid their taxes, because that
Yeah.
can come up.
It'll all be on there.
You know, because those will have to be paid before closing if there's a prior balance.
Yep.
Not necessarily by you, but by someone, hopefully the current homeowner. And let's go ahead and do a quick
So-
record search. And,
Right.
we'll
So
show
what you do on this is don't even fill everything out. The only two things I want you to fill out is right there what we have there, which is the street address and the street name. And do not put drive, avenue, anything like that. Don't put, and just put the number and the name of the street, and that's it, and hit submit. Nothing else on that page. The more you put, the more you'll confuse the system. So just go as minimal as possible on that. So then it'll come up with the record. This
And it-
particular property has several buildings on it. This is a commercial piece of property that we're
And
using
you
our
can just
office
click
as an
on the-
estimate.
And you can click on the parcel
On the
ID.
blue hyperlink. And that opens up this page here. So this is going to give you a lot of information. It's going to have the assessed values of the property, of what it's being taxed on right now. It's also going to have in the middle, across the middle of the page there, where it talks about the land information. It has, although it does have flood zones in there, I wouldn't trust them. Sometimes they're not accurate, and sometimes if it says dash dash, that means somebody in the county didn't check the flood maps
well,
when,
you know what,
when
your
they
best-
input the information.
Your best friend on flood is, well, the lender's going to do a flood determination, but insurance carriers
Yes.
can usually tell you, yes, you're going to need flood in here.
So
because they do a flood
the
determination.
real estate agents are going here and they're taking a look at it and they're saying, well, you know, it says dash dash. That must mean no flood insurance. Not necessarily. That just means that someone didn't look it up. And they needed to fill in the field, so they filled in the field with dash dash.
So-
This also tells you the type of property and such, things like that. The other thing that we wanted to bring up is the tax,
Well,
where to find the tax bill
yeah,
on
so
this.
if you go in and look for the tax bill, I think your best friend is that estimator link.
Yeah, actually, if you're
Which is
buying a
right on the
home,
top.
let's go to the estimator. See right up there at the top in this one, tax estimator. So if you're buying this property, what you're going to do is you're going to fill in here. You know, excuse me, it says what the assessments are. You're going to fill in what are you paying for the property? How much do they want for the property? And then if you are going to be homesteading the property, if it's not already, then you're going to fill in the 2 homestead slots and you're going to hit calculate. And that's going to tell you what the potential of your tax bill is going to go to, providing everything stays the same as far as where our mill rate is at right now, providing everything stays the same based upon what the value of the home that you're purchasing, and if you're applying your homestead exemptions to it, it's going to tell you what your taxes are going to be. Be prepared for that. Do yourself a favor and definitely take a look at this page so that you know, okay, you know, I can still afford that.
Yeah, it's a great resource for you as a home buyer to use, and you can see what your real tax bill will be or get close to it in the future. So
And our real estate partners, if you're not doing this already, then I would highly recommend that you do that as well for
absolutely.
something that
Yeah,
someone's looking
please
at.
don't tell people, oh, it's going to go down because you're going to file for homestead and it'll go down next year. That is not necessarily true at all. In fact, more
Yeah.
than likely, that's not going to be true.
Again, taxes don't go down, people. They
Yes.
don't go down.
So-
Barry had a phone call recently, somebody who went to a different lender, but they were so angry, they wanted to refinance and get away from that lender, I guess, because they were so angry because no one told them this. They wanted to sue the realtor, they wanted to sue the title company, they wanted to sue the lender.
Nobody can explain it to them. And that's the thing. So we try to explain it. Sorry if we over-explain, but we want you to understand what's actually happening with your mortgage bill. So, since we're on the Pasco County site, there's some other great resources on there. I know a lot of you want to check if there was a prior sinkhole. That is available on the Pasco, PA property site.
Right. There's Mike, our property appraiser.
Our new property
But you would
appraiser.
actually find that information on the same place. If you want to go back to the exact same place, go to your record search and go to, there you go, right in there, hit submit. And go back into the property, there you go. So it says right in the middle there again, we're near the flood zone section. In the middle of the page, it's going to have if it was a prior sinkhole or not, or if there was sinkhole activity there. That is where you can find that information. The other good things that are on this information is the age of the house, how much the square footage was. If you can scroll down just a little bit, it also says underneath, scroll down just a little bit. It's going to tell you, maybe not. That's it. Okay, sorry. Usually it tells you, well, maybe because these are commercial buildings, so this is a little bit different. So it usually will tell you if they added any kind of thing. If they added what year they added like a porch onto the house or a lanai or something like that, and how many square feet that was, and how much that made a difference in the assessment and such.
It also tells you on the site if people did or did not pull a permit.
Yes, that's another
for
great
a room. So on public records, you'll see, oh, there's 3 bedrooms, but on the county records, there's only 2. Well, where did that extra room come from? That
Right.
means they probably did what we call an illegal room addition. So that could come into play when you're...
When an appraisal gets done, because
Yeah.
an appraiser can only count legal square footage. So
Yes.
if that was not permitted, and then the appraiser's not going to be able to count
Yeah,
it.
so the other thing you can also look for is there any open permits which can prevent you from closing on a property as well. That's also on Pasco PA's website. So if there was a contractor lien of any kind, a permit started, never closed, contractors want to be paid. If they had a roof done, if they had any kind of remodel, contractors will post a lien to that property. You can see it there. And again, in order for you to get clear title when you buy the property, those will have to be settled and closed.
And most of the time, the title companies are very, very good about it. They catch this stuff pretty much early on, and they're going to go right to the seller, and they're going to say, hey, did you do this new roof? They pulled a permit for it, but the permit is still open. Yes, before you can sell this property, it needs to be fixed.
Right.
And 99.99% of the time, it is the seller's responsibility, and he will take care of doing whatever he has to do to get that permit fixed.
Well, he wants to sell the house.
Sometimes, and this is something that comes up a lot when people do things like that, or they convert their garage or something like that, and they didn't pull a permit to do so. You just have to contact the county and have the county come out and inspect it. And as long as it was done to workmanlike code, and everything is up to code, they'll normally issue a permit. So so that it
Where
can
it's a problem is if
go forward.
If
the work
done.
was not done to code and not workman.
And you know what? The biggest problem today is people did, it might have happened 20 years ago. They did this, and they're like,
Yeah,
and it went through.
codes have changed.
Codes have changed.
Fire codes have changed and things like that.
So my question to you as a buyer is, do you really want something that's not built up to code?
I know the properties out there are scarce, but do your due diligence. And I know people are so anxious just to, oh my gosh, we bid on 15 houses and finally we got one to say yes. Just make sure you do your due diligence and make sure that you're
Get a
looking.
home inspection.
And the home inspectors don't always check these permits and everything either. They'll say to you, I recommend checking out the permits and things to make sure that this, room addition was done
We call it CYA.
correctly. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So much great information out there. Again,
And our website is wonderful. And I got to say, Pinellas County, we do a lot of business in both Pasco and Pinellas counties, and both of those websites are very, very good.
so good information. Use it. Hope all this was helpful. All right, let's go on to some bigger and better things going on in the community right now. Remember, we do have a lot going on. We have our upcoming Zoom Lunch and Learn to cover all of this we have a special guest, Mr. Mike Wells, the county property appraiser. We're going to meet him, and he's going to join us via Zoom. I believe it's March the 9th, and it is at 11:30. For all of our realtor friends, join us on that call. It'll be great information. I'm sure Mike will give us some upcoming changes. He is the new guy at the property appraiser's office, so he can tell you what changes are happening and get you up to date. And being a real estate professional in our community, you don't want to miss that. That's all I got to say about that. You're like looking at me like,
I know. What else you got? Well, there's other good stuff going on in the community.
So we do have West Pasco Business Association. We always talk about WPBA. Look for the links coming up on our site. We're super excited that we're going to be able to help people with rent payments this year who live in Pasco County. So go to WPBA.biz if you're struggling with your rent or struggling with your utility bills, meaning water and or electric. We may be able to help you. You must live in Pasco. There are income restrictions on that. So go on our website, WPBA.biz, check it out. We're going to hopefully be able to help a lot of families this year.
If you are a landlord especially, please go on there and check this out, because you might have some people who are several months back, behind. And
we can help. We can even pay it forward on these.
The end of 2020, we were limited with how much we can give, and now the limitations have been lifted. A couple of more restrictions for the person to qualify, but the limitations have been lifted. So even if someone is a year behind on their rent, we could help catch them up.
Ooh, pretty cool, huh?
Pretty nifty.
If it's, and it has to be after March 15th of 2020. So it's a COVID-related
Yes, it does
thing.
have to be COVID.
But thanks, everybody. Hope this was helpful. Share our show. Like it.
We appreciate everybody watching. We are Today and Every Day.
Moving forward.
See you next week.
Have a great week, everybody.